Hey everybody, this is a short video to help you through the drafting piece of Unit 2 so you're feeling more comfortable about your next writing assignment and what you're turning in. Before we jump into drafting, I want to go over a couple more context clues because again, one of our big standards is identifying unknown words and using context clues to determine its meaning. So she received many accolades as a student at North Georgia Technical College, including an academic scholarship, being invited into the National Honor Society, first place in her team's USA division, and a paid internship in her field of study. What does accolades mean? Is it punishments, awards and honors, material possessions, or extra responsibilities? Press pause, go back into the sentence, and figure out where the clues were that helped you figure out the definition. All right, I hope you're able to figure out that accolades means awards and honors. And when you go back into that sentence, we've got a couple of things that help us know this. First of all, we know she received it. So it's something that she got. And then we have the list of things. We've got an academic scholarship. We've got an invitation to the National Honor Society. We've got first place into her Teams USA division. We've got a paid internship in her field of study. And I think real quick we can see that's not punishments. Those aren't really extra responsibilities. Material possessions, not really the vibe that sentence is trying to give us, right? Awards and honors is the correct answer. All right, so this week, or this half of the week, you're going to be working on drafting. And drafting, your goal when you're going through this step is to get a rough draft of the assignment that you need to turn in. It's not finished, it's not polished, but the bones of what you're having to create are there. As you're drafting, take one paragraph at a time. I know you're going to sit down and want to just crank it out so you can check it off your to-do list. But if you take it one paragraph at a time, you're setting realistic goals. You're making sure you hit them well before you move on to the next piece, and it keeps things from kind of blurring together. Like I said, a draft is the complete version of the first piece of writing. It's not the finished thing. It's not 100% polished and ready for a grade with the rubric, but you know you've got the main components there, and then you're taking it and you're escalating it to make it better over the course of the rest of the assignment. Begin writing with the part you know best. And this is going to sound weird because most people want to start with the beginning of the paper and end with the end of the paper. But instead, start with the part you know best. And so if you think about it, if you're having to write an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, well, the part you really are thinking about, the part that you're really planning and trying to figure out all the details is your body. And so I know this is going to kind of flip some of y'all out. But if you start with the body paragraph, you know you have all the information you need. That lets you move into the conclusion where you're just summing up your point you just wrote. It flows real nicely together. And then last, go back to the beginning and write your introduction. The introduction is usually where people find writer's block the fastest. You're trying to come up with a good hook. You're trying to figure out what information to front load so people can understand your topic. And it's real easy to psych yourself out. But if you start writing with your body paragraph, then you know you're hitting the major pieces you need to talk about. Then move into your conclusion. So you're summing it all up, which is pretty easy because you just wrote it all. And then end with your introduction by moving to the beginning of the paper to put it there, because now you know what information people need to understand in order to get your topic. Now you have better ideas of how to hook them as a reader and catch their attention with that first sentence. And now you know clearly the thesis you followed with your body and conclusion. Again, write one paragraph at a time. It seems counterintuitive, but make sure you've got one thing going well before you move to the next piece. Take short breaks to refresh your mind. Your brain is a complex thing. And so even when you're stepping away to do something like cutting the grass or cooking dinner or watching a 30-minute Netflix episode, your brain's still working through these problems, even though you're not sitting there thinking about it, staring at a blank screen. When you're able to come back and sit down to work, it is amazing the things that come to your mind because you've worked out some problems without realizing it. Be reasonable with your goals. Do not wait until 45 minutes before the due date to sit down and try to crank this thing out. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying you're not setting yourself up for success. And then keep your audience and purpose in mind. Remember why you're having to write this, besides me making you. With this assignment, you're trying to argue whether or not children should have to play in an organized sports team before high school. And so think about who all you could be talking to, who all you're trying to convince, and why your argument is the best argument. So last unit, unit 1, you created a strong 1-paragraph response. And what I had you focusing on was actually a body paragraph. That's what you built, with a topic sentence, with your supporting details and transition words, and your concluding sentence. So in unit 2, we're tacking on this introduction and conclusion, because I want you to start seeing how an answer can get responded with 1 paragraph. You can blow it up into a short 3-paragraph response, or you can build a full-out 5-paragraph essay. The thing you need to remember about any writing that is larger than a paragraph is your thesis determines the entire essay. And so I know if you're taking 1101 and soon in 1010, you're going to be talking about a 3-part thesis, but that is just one way to create a thesis. Right here, we've got a thesis statement with 1 point. And since it has 1 point, you're going to have 1 body paragraph. Closing all American borders for a period of 5 years is one solution that will tackle illegal immigration. Now, this came from an online textbook. I didn't just pull this out and make it up myself, but you can see clearly what they're going to be building their paper on. And you're going to see clearly what they're hitting. Ooh, I didn't mean to zoom in. What they're going to be hitting with that 1 body paragraph. If you look here, we have another thesis statement. And again, it came from your textbook, so I'm sorry, it's kind of lame. But compared to an absolute divorce, no-fault divorce is less expensive, promotes fairer settlements, and reflects a more realistic view of the causes for marital breakdown. See how you've got 3 things you're hitting here? That's a 3-part thesis. And so it means now you're going to have 3 body paragraphs. The thesis statement is 1 statement that is going to embody the main point of your paper. You're going to include your thesis in your introduction. And just like you're going to talk about in your other English classes, you start off with a hook. You have something there to grab their attention. You fill up the middle part of your introduction with that background information, that stuff they need to know in order for your paper to make sense. And then you end that first paragraph with your thesis, that 1-sentence statement about what the paper is about. When you move into your body, you're taking apart that point and you're going into great detail, because remember, every reader is different and they process information differently. So you may need to have an example. You may need to define something. You may need to compare or contrast what life would be like with or without sports. But you're going through everything they need so that they get done with this paragraph and they go, whew, I never even thought about it like that. Your conclusion, I think, is sometimes the hardest paragraph to write, because all you're doing is summarizing those main ideas. And so as you, the writer, you've already hit all of this. And so to write it again seems absolutely ridiculous. But your reader needs to be reminded one more time. You threw a whole bunch of information at them. For some of them, you're challenging their way of thinking. And so they need to go through that slowly one more time to make sense of what they just learned. So in your conclusion, you're summarizing your main idea. You are restating your thesis by paraphrasing it. Don't just copy and paste it, but adjust it a little bit so it's same, different. And then you're bringing back that hook at the end to create that full circle ending. You do the exact same thing down here with the big hitter, with the 3-part thesis. You're just doing it over 3 pieces that you're going over instead of 1. So to sum up, your first draft that you're creating is going to have 3 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is known as an introduction, and it is going to have a thesis statement as the last sentence in the first paragraph. Then you're going to move into your body paragraphs. And that is what you spent time building in the last unit. This should kind of be your comfort zone. But you're creating a topic sentence, you're creating your supporting details, you're ending it in a concluding sentence, and of course you're sprinkling those transition words throughout. And then your last paragraph, the one that sometimes feels the weirdest, is your conclusion. And you are summing up your main ideas. It is the last ditch effort to convince the reader you know what you're talking about. They should come on over to your side. They should believe what it is that you're preaching. Here is an example of kind of what you're building. And you'll notice, again, we've got our introduction in the beginning. Let me see if I can get the colors going again. You've got your introduction in the beginning. You've got your body paragraph where you're supporting your main idea there in the middle. And then you've got your conclusion at the end. And you can see where the largest paragraph is that middle paragraph. And it makes sense because that's where you're really teaching and driving home your point. Your introduction and your conclusion are usually about the same size. They're a little smaller than your body paragraph, but they should definitely be more than just 2 sentences. And like last time, when you turn in this draft, you are going to be labeling some parts because I want you to make sure you've got the pieces that you need. So you're going to highlight the hook in your introduction, bright green. That should be the first sentence in your paragraph. You're going to underline your, and see, I messed up. It shouldn't be a 3-part thesis. It should just be a 1-part thesis in your introduction. And that's going to be the last sentence. In paragraph 1. You're going to highlight your topic sentence blue or turquoise, just like you did last time in paragraph 2. You're going to highlight transition words pink, and you may have some in your introduction and conclusion, but the majority of them will be in the body paragraph. You're going to highlight your concluding sentence yellow, which will be paragraph 2. It'll be your body. And then any place that you are going to be citing an article, you're going to make that red, and then your explanation of that citation is going to be bold. And this is going to be pretty cool because as you're writing, you're going to say something like, let's see, as Gertie explains, and remember that was an author's name, quotation mark, and then you're going to put in your quote. If I can make it right correctly. And then you're going to follow up and tell the writer what this means. And so in your body paragraph, you're going to have your own idea as to why sports should or shouldn't be used with children before high school or participated in by children before high school. And then you're going to take one of the articles that supports your idea to back up your thoughts. And what this does is it kind of ups the ante as a writer. Your idea is valid, your idea is good, but let's be honest, who are you? You're a student. And so you want to use a published writer to back up your idea and say, look, nah, not just my idea. See how somebody else says it too. See how somebody else has done research to support it. And it builds your credibility. It shows how your ideas are valid and people should be moving on over to your side and believing what you say because you've done the research. They can trust you. Look at how your idea is correct. As always, reach out to me through email or call me at my office. I don't mind walking you through this. I know this one's a little different than last. We're trying to slowly build and grow and become stronger writers by the end of the semester.